Hello, and welcome back to Factorio Space Age, where we are desperately trying to properly sort the output of our recyclers on Fulgora. And part of the challenge is that different things we're sorting are going to maximize our storage very quickly. We need to resort them, and we can see that here. I'm going to get rid of that right now, because this is not actually helping me. So, why are those guys showing no power? There we go. What we have over here is how many stacks of each item exist in these boxes. And we have on the far left, I am measuring the transport rate through these two belts of all items. So this is how many of these items we are trying desperately to get rid of. And S is my normal thing. So if S will centralize onto 36 at the same rate. So this is a running average. So if we start over from 0, S will start at 0. It will increase towards 36. It'll get slower and slower as it gets toward there. But that shows us, a flag that says how valid are these guys. If this is 36, these are valid. If it's a lot less, then we need to wait. So the problem is we need to be chewing on things a lot faster. Second problem is we need to destroy things a lot faster, and we don't have any space below this. So what I want to do is I want to move my array off to the right. Okay. Let's see. Do I have a adequate blueprint? This is the base blueprint for what I want to do here. And actually, I ended up picking up the thing. Hold on. I think I fixed it in the Fulgora Blueprints area. Yeah, you've got everything set. No, you don't have those guys set. Oh, goodness. You don't have a... Oh, you do have these guys set. Okay. So this is the base blueprint. I'm going to want to bring it in here somewhere. This is just for placement of things. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to say if this guy isn't enough, and we're going to put... why do I not have speed modules? We're going to put speed modules in here. So we're going to be correcting this particular thing. The other thing is I noticed as I was staring at things, this guy puts it on the right. Well, this side, on this lane. This guy puts it on this lane. So both the inserters are going into the same lane. So if we are counting on inserters for stuff, it's not doing it right. So let's do it like that. So what's coming up from here could be on either side of the belt. What's coming out here will always be on that, so we're going to put it on this lane. This inserter will be here, so it'll go on that lane. We're good. So if we are just producing stuff from the boxes, it'll be on the correct lanes. I think for this, I am actually going to change... Well, do I want the robots putting things back into this? I don't think so. I think I'm going to put them back in the main area, and if we want to do requesting, we'll do that when we can request. But for now, I'm going to say you are not even logistics, are you? Yeah, you are logistics. I want the robots to be able to take out of you, but I don't want the robots to be putting anything into you. Okay, so these will fill up as we bring scrap in, as we bring recycled stuff in. We will be taking out of them to put stuff on the belt. Okay, our priority is to keep the belts full. And if the belt is full enough, we want to be putting stuff in here. So this is good. This is the logic for when we re-recycle. And this is correct as long as we don't require additional re-recyclers. According to my spreadsheet, let's bring that up. I think there's a bug here, but I'm not sure. Supposedly, if I calculated this correctly, everybody here can be adequately re-recycled. Okay, so the recycler turns out a certain number of items, and if we are full, these guys should be able to handle that quantity. Okay? Supposedly. Except for concrete, steel plate, and copper wire, which require more. And in my design over here, put all of them off on the right. Now this is based on processing of all this stuff. These are the numbers of stacks of things we've got. We're still putting things in there. You know, it's still dealing with the fact that I told it to stop. Anything that's high here, potentially something we're going to want to deal with at some point. These right three are the ones we want additional recycling, and I think I can just put it in line off the end of those three. But I do want a fail-safe. Anything that is too many, I need to get rid of. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that in a way that isn't silly? Why don't I'm going to trust my numbers. Okay, I'm going to trust my numbers. So, that's that one. Let's grab this, and I'm going to select new contents. It's been slightly updated. Now if I bring this up, all of my parameters are wrong. Damn it. So this needs to be 51, 52, and 53. When I put it back down, it did the stack size of that instead of the default. Okay, we do that. Now we try this again. Select new contents. Boom. Okay, these are parameters. These are formulas, which are low thresholds for P1, P2, and P3. That's what I want. Okay. Now, do I have any lightning protection in this build at all? I don't believe I put any in. I might be able to sneak some in there. Let's see if I... Yeah, I think I can stretch this one further. Or wait a minute. There we go. So I can put lightning protection in manually in here next to this inserter. Okay, so let's set that up so we've got power from the right. Now we're going to start here, and we're going to start from the bottom of the spreadsheet there. So you are copper wire. I will deal with the recycling issues after I've placed these down. Working up. Steel plate. Concrete. Gears. This is go a little slow. I'm having to refer to several different things. Blue chip. I do want it to be properly aligned. Red chips. Green chips. Batteries. Plastic. Stone. Brick. Solid fuel. Ice. Copper plate. Iron plate. Iron ore. Chromium ore. And low density structures. Okay, let's get that all built. The base bots are still going crazy over our stock issues over there. So how are we out of undergrounds? Our trader should have been making regular deliveries to us of red belts. What is going on with the trader? You are waiting on refined concrete. We're not making refined concrete on Novice. What are you doing? Hey, you. Bring me my red stuff. Well, until the red stuff is ready, in order to make belts, I'm going to need some iron and some copper, and I'm going to need some electronic circuits. And what I'd like to do is request in various belts that we already have. We've got the green. Let's see if we have any yellow belts. I just want to grab them. Okay. We do not, in fact, have underground belts or transport belts available. Okay, so handy hands. You are going to need to be making transport belts and underground belts and fast underground belts, and probably also fast transport belts. And it is likely you also need to be making some splitters and some red splitters. Let's let handy hands get busy on that. I'm going to stand over here where they're needed so they'll get placed as they get built. It looks like my trader just arrived. Yay! What are we getting destroyed here? That's okay. Yeah, when I put this out to the right, our straight line to the spaceport is now over an area that doesn't have lightning protection. So we will be occasionally losing bots. We'll have to monitor the situation here. Okay, so there it is. I know that I need 2 more of these, and their output needs to go back onto that list right there. However, there's a strict limit to how far we can go. So I put that in there. And you, what color is your wire? You don't have any color wire at all. You are receiving red and green, so I need to bring those both down. Basically, I need the new guy to be the duplicate of the old guy. What we're going to do here is I'm just going to come across here like this. And I'm just going to do it twice. There's not very many of these, so I am comfortable with this idea. That gives me 3 of those, dealing with the copper wire that's coming in. Green and red. And what does your programming look like? You really only need the output of this guy. Okay. There's that. Next one over is steel. So we need this same thing, roughly. And also for concrete. These guys only need 2, so we're good here. Okay, there's that. And in theory, that's all of the recycling that we require in this particular installation. Our outputs need to fold back around just like this. I think I am even going to just grab all of this as is. Yeah, I'll put it like that. So I'm going to copy the monitor across as well. This whole thing. Make sure we get everything hooked up. So let's move this up 1 so it lines up with our power. We seem to be doing okay on lightning coverage. I thought we'd need more. So we're pretty much going to get everything set up here before we give it any inputs. Oh, so if I let this rip, everything should hit its recycling, and nothing should cause it to stop. This stuff is not copied over. Need to give it an extra gap because I got that belt coming down there. But we're good. I really want to put the logic here. The bottom signal coming out is going across to... Oh, that was going across to our last chance inserters, which we're not using anymore. So this is really a standalone thing, so I can put this up here. Do not need you. Do not need you. Okay, so red needs to connect in here. Many of these guys that have red, so we're good there. I'm going to grab this and put it down here so the wires are, well, one more. There. So the wires make sense. So quantities, this is going to be still number of stacks. Try that again, this time without the... You go away. You come down here. Quantities coming in there. And now we're set. Moment. I believe the green wire is connected all the way up. So if I disconnect it and reconnect it, it should be showing all zeros, and it's not. Because I don't understand. I think maybe it will come up when it has a change of value. Okay, so if I Control exit, then Control Z it, there we go. So currently we've got no stacks of anything over there. And that's whole stacks rounded down. Resort comes in. I think we're good. So we're going to grab all of this. Oh, I almost forgot to put this stuff in. We've calculated the rates. This gives us the recycling rates of everything. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say, do not pick up all of those boxes. Here they are. So stop picking up the boxes, pick up everything else. Nice little rate display, tell us exactly what we are recycling. I'm going to put that in down below. Apparently I still need that guy there. Okay. Hold on. There. I know. Once we get data in here, it'll work fine, but I do like to have it show up nicely when I first build it. Okay, so you're there. I'm going to make sure that's reset and going. This S is different from that S. Or is it? Let's make it C instead of S. There we go. So now I know I'm not going to get messed up with this S value. So now we just need scrap coming in here. Let's go to map mode, and I can run that across. If I do it like this, it makes it a little bit easier to get it set up. So eventually we'll change how we're doing the scrapping. I think I'm going to leave that there for just a moment. Okay, so now we should see stuff percolating through. Wow, we picked up a bunch of ice in the beginning, didn't we? So here's our recycling rates on the left. And again, they're not going to be really stable because S is nice and high. I'm gonna see if I can get quicker estimates. 1,000, it's not too bad. How fast is that actually? So how fast did that get to 3,600? That's actually okay. These numbers that I'm seeing here, in theory, should tally roughly with the rate columns on that spreadsheet, which is still on the screen. And I think, did I put them in the same order? LDS, chromium, iron, yeah, it's roughly in the same order. Yeah, tallying roughly is an overstatement. The derived stuff, like the iron ore, will be low until everybody gets up to decent values. So there's an additional thing we can do here. We're not going to do it for what we're doing right now with the scrap, because we want to just keep mining the scrap, even if everything is getting recycled to nothing. But when we're starting to bring scrap in from trains, and we're thinking, well, maybe we don't want to just exhaust all the scrap on the map, what we can do is we can say, if we have enough of each thing, okay, then we can stop the scrap flowing in. This is a somewhat larger sorting system than I expected to build. Oh my, look at the stacks over here. Okay, so we are seeing 20 stacks of steel and 4 or 5 stacks of copper. We're not seeing stacks of anything else, which to me means we probably don't have all of our wires hooked up right. The red wires are supposed to be hooked up through here. And it doesn't look like they're actually hooked up. So apparently, yeah, I messed up as I was placing it. I probably didn't include the tag to the left in my build. Yep. Okay, there we go. Now we're seeing all of it. So what do we have a lot of stacks of? We have a lot of steel and concrete and gears and a huge amount of iron. Why do we have a huge amount of iron? What is producing iron? Something is producing a lot more iron than I expected. So I need to have iron, have more of these guys. So let's see. We are currently producing about 500 iron per minute. And according to the spreadsheet, well, I didn't dump how much we could do. So we're going to have to actually look at this. This guy says I can consume 330 iron per minute. So we just need a second machine doing iron. That's okay. We can just grab this and toss it right in here. We do green wire back to you and red wire back from you. We don't really need the red wire, but I'm going to keep it consistent. And you need to be moving the right thing. Oh, these guys too. Oh. Yep. There we go. Now I think just because I messed up on these, I am going to put in these guys. There. Yeah, I didn't fix up those inserters earlier. Oops, that would have been a mistake. So now we should be draining these down a bit. Iron is holding at 33 stacks. Okay. And 20 stacks is our desired recycle. So I think we're good. So I could do this everywhere, but I think that would be overkill. And that would end up putting more things on here. What this is telling me is that the iron should have been over in this area. So who is producing iron? LDS is potentially producing no iron. We're looking for, oops. I may need to hit some of these temporarily with a enable to be able to see what they're doing. So iron produces itself at a lower rate. Okay, so potentially we could be producing iron here from batteries, from green chips. So if we had a lot of green chips, we might do that. Red in, no. Blue. Well, blue produces a ton of green chips. That could do it. So it depends on how much blue we get. But all of this should have been taken into account in the program that I wrote there, which does go recursive. Why it would be saying only 38.4 iron plate per minute, I don't know. We got 576 gears per minute. And it should be producing half of that, so that's going to be 200 right there. So iron plate is definitely wrong in the spreadsheet there. Yeah, okay. Anyway, there it is. I am going to not do anything else in this area here in case we need to put in additional recyclers. It's tempting to reserve space for a fourth recycler in case somebody can't make it. Screws are sitting at 22. Are they getting bigger? Iron's coming down. Screws are, gears are. Oh, gears will be. I'm going to put gears on this too. I am worried that gears are actually going to be a lot more intense. There we go. That'll bring the gears back down nicely. LDS is at 16. We don't try re-recycling until they hit 20. There. Now over here we have the rate at which we are expecting to recycle each of these things. We're getting very little iron ore at the other end. That makes sense. The only things we should be seeing in quantity here are things that we are getting secondarily. Okay. And even then, they won't get major quantities until we have everything built up. But you notice our big hitter, we are getting 600 gears a minute coming in. 576 is what the spreadsheet says. I think what the recyclers turn out has some randomness to it, so there'll be some variability. And we are not sorting these at the rate needed to keep those belts flowing at full rate. Okay. Well, shucks. Well, part of that is these are being merged with a full belt from here. This has got to be half a belt. I do not want this slowing down. I need this guy to keep going. It looks like everybody's got spaced output, for now at least. If it becomes necessary to have more than 2 belts worth of throughput here, well, actually, 1 belt plus whatever. Oh, if we put this on the top half, it won't be conflicting the other stuff. There we go. We don't really need that either. That doesn't hurt. Actually, let's do this. So the way these are merging together is bona fide ugly. Yeah, I am going to bring those together inside the lane balancer like this. So all the lanes are moving, maybe not at top speed, but they are moving, they're making progress. I can do better. I can do significantly better. There. Now this does mean that we potentially have two belts of throughput up to there. We're slowing up our inputs significantly, but we're handling this output much better. So this attachment point and that attachment point are just to route the wires, so I don't have to replicate those across. Important that this guy continues flowing. What might be interesting is also having a total of all of these numbers except for C. Monitor what that is. Anyway, with this working, at this point we're just waiting for anything to go wrong for a bit. Kind of monitor our levels. I don't like the fact that ice and yeah, let's give them a second lane. So that's ice. And that's going to get rid of some lightning protection. I'm going to put it back down here. Solid fuel and ice. Those are above 20. Did I misread that? Oh, hold on. Okay, I also forgot I needed to delete the conditionals in here where we had the parameters. Otherwise, this is going to just limit the amount of stuff we store more radically than we should. So let's prune those, and then I'm going to call this a recording because clearly I am not sharp. Sulfuric acid is not a thing for us. Green chips also. We do not produce sulfuric acid. Or water. Okay, one last check through here again. This guy has his 3 ingredients. This guy has his one thing. This guy has his one thing. This guy has his one ingredient. Copper has his one ingredient. Ice is only solid fuel. Brick is stone. Stone is nothing. Plastic is just plastic, actually. Let's verify. Yes, he's just plastic. Batteries are 2 kinds of those. So far, these look good. I'm going to check that these actually become brick and ore. I think they do. Yep. So concrete recycling does turn those out. Okay. Steel does not become iron. Okay, I'll show you. Steel plate recycling does not turn out iron plate. There we go. That's a little better under control. So these guys are going. Why? These are not programmed. Oh. Helps if I connect them up. Let's get the red connected while I'm thinking about it. You are also not connected. So all these guys should be marked pause except for iron, which was going to be going back and forth between pause and non-pause. There we go. You see these occasionally starting up, and things are a little better behaved. I'm going to call that a recording. I will see you in the next one where we will start to do something with all of these outputs. Okay, turn you off, and I will see you in the next one.